So you mentioned some tactical things. People love tactics. So when you think about tactical ways, you've started to create time in your calendar each week for your team.
Yes.
What's that look like? What's an example of a tactic that you've put in place?
Yes. Well, I tried everything, right? I tried 30-minute meetings, and then all I found is rather than being in 10 meetings a day, I was in 20. I tried sort of talking to the team about emails and other things and through trial and error. But then what I did was sit down with the team and we just sort of said, hey, let's just talk about this. So a specific tactic, and as simple as this is, it's embarrassingly simple, but I now no longer go to a meeting unless there is a very clear desired outcome, an agenda and a purpose. And that goes, by the way, not just internally with my team and stakeholders, but also externally with our supplier base. They get quite surprised when I kind of say no to a meeting because they expect to meet with you, but it needs to have purpose. So very selfish with my time and meetings. I literally put another tactic into place where I set a quota on myself to actually decline half the meetings I'm invited to. Now, why half? It's kind of more figurative than literal, but I literally now look at the meetings, I look at who's attending, and I was finding myself in meetings where my direct reports were all there, representing our sort of interests. I didn't need to be there. Yeah. So stop going to meetings. The other thing I did was with my team is I deemed Monday team day. And this is relatively new, but I did 45-minute meetings. God help anyone who books that 15-minute spot in between. No one has yet. But I commit to that. And that was one of the big things is I was skipping one-on-ones. I wasn't giving them the time. And now I say, do not email me unless it's, you need to. I will commit 100% to these one-on-ones. And that is a big deal. I literally now get meetings booked on Mondays and I'm just not available on Mondays because that's my team day. So just, again, basic things that, again, I think you take for granted, but I had to stop and reset. And they're just a couple of tactics. There's other things that kind of fall into that real granular piece, but certainly there are some examples.
I love that. So we've already talked about leading transformation, which is fantastic. We've talked about managing time as a leader and executive, fantastic. I know we're getting close on time already. But as you look out into the future and you think about where you want to continue to grow your leadership, is there a particular bucket or a particular area that you say, gosh, when I look 3 years out, I'd love to get even better at this thing?
Yeah, I mean, my current focus is to continue on the journey I'm on, and definitely, not because I'm sitting here opposite you, but the author-editor approach. And I think I want to get better at editing for my team, but also authoring up. And sometimes I get that balance a little bit out of whack in terms of really focused on making sure, because what I expect of my team is for them to think about how they're going to get most value out of our time together. So really me focusing on how I do that up the line in a more productive way. And now sitting on the leadership team, I believe I have the opportunity to do that in meetings, but I want it to be very deliberate. And certainly one-on-ones with president or CEO, I want to make sure that really counts.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's one small thing that I think I need to focus on.
Beautiful, Cameron. Well, so I ask all my guests on the Leadership Foundry podcast this question. What's one, for everyone listening right now, all the leaders listening, what's one practical tool, tip, trick, life hack that they could start to do today that's going to improve their way they lead their teams?
So I had a funny sense you might ask me that. And I have had so many things floating around in my head because there's just so much, right? And with the company that I'm keeping here, I should say, edit down, author up, right?
You don't have to do that.
But because of the story I've told and the fact that I do think I lost my way a little bit there for a short period of time is just that constant self-awareness and making sure that you do take time out to plan for those moments that matter. And I actually used to think it was corny. I don't know if that's the right word. If I'm Australian, that translates. But, corny to write down goals. I actually started doing that. And I wrote down goals for the smallest of things. I'm not talking like, in 5 years, I want to do this and that. I've got those goals. But this was goals for very specific things, whether it be a public speaking, whether it be for an executive meeting, and actually visualizing then what good looks like.